Okay, it's still Tuesday, May 6th. I'm redoing this video because I'm adding a third part because I found out about this 69 million disenfranchised women because they got married and didn't change their shit. But I'm going to get to that. But I want to address, I'm going to drastically shorten this, so you're going to hear some repeat stuff, but it's going to be like less than 10 minutes. We hear all this shit, our beloved truthers and Fox and all these beloved other assholes on YouTube and all these websites. This is a national ID card. I guarantee you, I'm going to show you this is not a national ID card. The best way to prove that is right now, I'm in Washington State. When anybody in this country gets pulled over, they type in your name or scan that fucking barcode thing on the back. It runs you throughout the whole fucking country. If you have fucking warrants, a be on the lookout, a restraining order, contact the FBI or DHS for this, that, it's there. Our card is already a national ID card. Our phones are already a national ID card. And if they were going to do a national ID card because they didn't have all that, they would already do it, and it would be in our current driver's license. Why? Big example. They passed this back in 2005. If they wanted to sneak it in our current driver's license, a new chip, a new computer program, they would have done it. They had 20 years to sneak all this into current states' individual driver's license and ID cards. And that's another thing. This is going to eventually progress from driver's license, real ID for flying and federal shit to state driver's licenses. But I'm going to address that later. Let me show you something here that I also added. Here in Washington State, I just got my driver's license 8 months ago because I moved here, had to get on my sister's lease, reapply for, I have Medicaid and do all this other shit for proof of residency. But anyway, here's the enhanced driver's license, $116 for 5 years. Read after the highlighted part. If you're upgrading an existing license, the cost is $7 per year for the time remaining on your current license. So I'm going to go get it. I have an appointment tomorrow for my enhanced license here in Washington State. What am I taking? I'm taking my birth certificate, Social Security card, proof of residence. When I got my driver's license here 8 months ago, what did I take? The same fucking thing. I got my first driver's license roughly at the age of 23. I'm 59 in Colorado. What did I take? My birth certificate, Social Security card, proof of residence. The exact same fucking thing. Those of us that have already done all this and provided the documents they want underneath the real ID, we shouldn't have to do this shit. We should get a notification like they can do saying, hey, you already have all the they're doing this for green cards. You already have all the documentation necessary. So you don't need to do this. Send us $20 or $30 and we'll send you the new one or come pick it up. I mean, stupid shit. But, I'm going to keep going here. Before I show these, I'm not part of the New World Order. I'm not defending Trump. This is the only thing that's completely legit I can see underneath Trump is trying to get rid of all this shit that illegals get. This is the documentation that you need in Washington State to get a driver's license. These are standalone, passport, emergency one not good, citizenship, a green card. You could do that. That's kind of the same shit there, but let's go on. You got to have all them. Refugee verification packet, resettlement. I think those B1s and B2s are workers' visa. This is to get just a regular driver's license. We know how a lot of these states work. They don't give a flying fuck. They're going to give illegals driver's licenses anyway. Look at all that stupid shit. Oh, and look at it. They take ID cards to get a driver's license. El Salvador, Guatemala, Honduras, Japan, Mexico, Peru. Some verification letter from agency supervising you. How fucking stupid. Again, the only thing, I don't remember if I said it within the last couple of minutes, the only thing different between getting a state driver's license and the real ID is that birth certificate. Don't you see what the fuck they're doing here? But let's move on. Okay, moving on to the last part I added in, the SAVE Act, disenfranchising millions, including 69 million women. Look what I just did. I consolidated my last two videos into 4.5 minutes. Here's the end part. Okay, it's still Tuesday, May 6th. My video on BitChute uploaded roughly 2 hours ago. I'm on YouTube about an hour and a half. It uploaded pretty quick since it was shorter. I should have addressed this in my last video. I thought it was a SAFE Act. The SAFE Act would disfranchise millions of citizens The SAVE Act would require all Americans to prove their citizenship with documentation unavailable to millions, and up and the way every American registers to vote. Okay, if you're an American, should you have to prove it? How many years have everybody on the left, or excuse me, not the Democrats, but anybody, all of us truthers, free Americans, we know the truth. Shouldn't you be a fucking U.S. citizen to vote and not illegal? Of course you should. But let's move on here. Now, we've seen all this shit over the years on various articles, whether people are left or right. Let's see what it says here. The SAVE Act has been reintroduced. Okay, this hasn't passed yet. It's to the Senate now. This legislation would require all Americans to prove their citizenship status by presenting documents in person when registering to vote or updating their voter registration information. That's true, and I'll show it because I'm going to show the Save America Act. So what's the problem? What's wrong with that? The legislation requires all citizens to prove their citizenship by presenting documentation in person when registering to vote. That means showing your real ID. That doesn't mean you have to show your birth certificate and your address proof and all that shit when you go to vote. That means, see how they leave that out and make you think you got to bring all this shit to vote? That means bringing your now current, what's going to be shortly, is your real ID. Again, that's if the SAVE Act passes, when registering to vote or updating their voter registration information. Specifically, the legislation would require the vast majority of Americans to rely on a passport or birth certificate to prove their citizenship. Okay, what's wrong with that? You have a passport or your birth certificate. That's what we need in this country. Look at all of us, whether you're left or right, independent or a truther like we all are. Prove your fucking citizenship if you want to have a driver's license, an ID card, or anything else, right? Quit fucking bitching about it when you get your way. I gotta say this. I am not defending the New World Order agenda. I am not defending the Trump agenda. But this shit, every way I look at this, getting rid of illegals, getting to have all this shit and do all this shit, we all agree, anybody with any common fucking sense, this horse shit needs to stop. This is the only thing I've seen underneath any New World Order Trump agenda that's, as I keep watching, appears legit, shipping them all out, using the Alien Enemies Act, get them the fuck out. Anyway. A thing I left out that I did in my original video, I guarantee you tomorrow there's going to be thousands of people around this nation's airports that are rejected at TSA because they didn't get the real ID. I mean, it has to happen because the lines are booked. I mean, there's going to be people going and hoping for the best. We'll see if they make excuse to let them on planes or not. But I mean, this is about illegals. Go read this shit yourself. Anyway, while this may sound easy for many Americans, the reality is that more than 140 million American citizens do not possess a passport. Okay, why are they just saying passport and not ID or real ID or driver's license? They just happen to leave that out. And as many as 69 million of women who have taken their spouse's name do not have a birth certificate matching their legal name. Look at the confabulation or fucked up way they do that. 69 million women have taken their spouse's name, do not have a birth certificate matching their legal name. Of course you fucking don't. But they don't address facts here, just fear porn on the Democratic side of this, or if you're pro-illegal. When a woman gets married, if she wants to take her spouse's name, she goes to the motor vehicle department. It might vary state by state. You might have to take your birth certificate, or you can take your current driver's license or ID, and you go to the motor vehicle department with what? Your marriage certificate, and your name gets changed to your husband's name or your wife's name if you want to go that route. So what happens when you go apply for the real ID? So how many of these 69 million? Are they saying that 69 million did not take their husband's name? If they did, then it doesn't fucking matter, right? Because they didn't change your ID to begin with. So that's out. So anyway, you're a woman, you got married, you took your spouse's name, you took your birth certificate, and or your old driver's license, but you took your marriage certificate, got your name changed to your husband's name. Why would you not do the same fucking thing when you got your appointment or you're waiting in line to get your real ID? But when I didn't know about this before, but it made me realize all the shit that I have Googled. You can't trust Google. Anyway, all this shit I've Googled and looked up on what it takes to get a Washington State driver's license or a Washington State Real ID, Enhanced ID driver's license. Nothing said anything about make sure if you're married, even though your state ID or driver's license is already in your husband's name, make sure you bring your marriage certificate, because that is happening. I can't prove shit. I'm not going to record the friends that I know have through my sister, but we know this couple. We just met them. We just had lunch with them a few days ago. She went to get her real ID and did not bring her marriage certificate. She brought her birth certificate, she brought her current Washington State driver's license, but they want proof of the name change. People gotta understand this. What they're doing since Trump got in office, and this is the only good thing I've seen out of him. Again, like I said, that completely, I have found nothing illegitimate about it, or whatever the fuck you want to call it, with this getting rid of illegals. Because if you go in with a birth certificate and a different ID, hey, we want proof. Come on, all of our loving, beloved channels, RFB, Joe Rogan, everybody else under the fucking sun. Oh my God, all these illegals using false information and false IDs, or not even fake driver's licenses or fake IDs, but real ones issued by states. As I showed in my previous video, they can use anything basically with a fucking picture on it to come in this country and get an ID and a driver's license. Fucking see, when the truth is there, I'm showing it. Show me where I'm wrong. Don't leave comments saying blah, blah, blah. Show me. Fuck, come on. Okay, let's move on with this Center for American Progress article. It is also critical to note that there are already documentation requirements to be able to register to vote as required by federal law. They make it seem like it's legit, which it is. Americans must provide either the last 4 digits of their social security number on their driver's license number on a voter registration in order to provide election with this information, blah, blah. Where's the and or? I thought there was an and or. Anyway, they have to as required by federal law, Americans must provide either the last 4 of their social security number or their driver's license number on a voter registration application in order to be able to vote. Okay, what's a problem like that? Well, I just said it. All these states are issuing all this shit to all these fucking illegals, all these immigrant, not non-citizens, which means illegals, I forgot what they call them now in different states. All these, I showed it for just Washington State. You can get a driver's license ID card with the dumbest shit in the world. So what is that eliminating? They're eliminating all that fraudulent bullshit. Show a fucking birth certificate or a green card. What does a green card mean? A green card means you are now a citizen of this country. They've already provided their birth certificate, whatever verification process they use for that. Read it for what. Look at the horse shit I'm showing in this. What they're saying and not saying and implying. I mean, fucking stop it. Okay, let's move on. Right over here, the Save America Act seeks to upend this process and turns a relatively well-oiled system, which means identification, now real ID, where officials are tasked with the work of verification and instead make every single American citizen put in work, time, and resources to exercise their constitutional right to vote and convince the government they're eligible. See what that says there? Up in the process, relatively well-oiled system. What do you got to do now? You have to go get your real ID. But as I said in my last video, I shouldn't have had to, because I'm going to go provide the same documentation as I did when I got my regular Washington State ID, where officials are tasked with the work of verification. See what they're tricking people when they read this? And they're thinking when you go to vote, those people there at the voting booths got to verify. You got to go through all this work verification. No, they don't. That's done at the motor vehicle department. So you got to put in your time and your constitutional right to vote to go make sure you're a citizen. Fuck yeah. So stop it. Now, there's a little bit of truth in this one, and I'm going to show it from the SAVE Act itself. In person, the legislation in practice prevent Americans from being able to register to vote by mail. Of course, because you have to have you can't register to vote by mail if you don't have your ID saying you're a fucking a real American citizen, and not an illegal who got a fucking various ID, as I've said repeatedly, from their bullshit methods, because these states that accept anything. It's going to end. And of course, they're fraudulent Social Security numbers. Voter registration drives nationwide. No, it won't. Not once you get your real ID. Pair in person. Yes, you got to appear in person with your original documentation to get your ID card. We've covered that several times. Change of address. Oh, yeah, I'm going to show that in the Save America Act. It does appear if you change your party affiliation, you have to go in. It's going to set it back by decades. Of course, it's going to affect people in rural areas, but I can only think by that means you have to drive farther to go to a motor vehicle department when you set an appointment or whatnot. I looked this up. I cannot find nothing underneath that Save America Act, whatever. It says, additionally, driver's licenses, including real IDs, as well as military or tribal IDs, will not be sufficient forms of documentation to prove citizenship under the legislation. Go read through the Save America Act yourself. If they are not taking real IDs, military IDs, tribal IDs, if they're not taking none of that, then what the fuck is it do they take? Do they want your fucking blood, your DNA? Of course, the channels would love to run away with that. So they're going to say, additionally, they're not going to take real ID, military, tribal IDs. It's not sufficient for it. Then what the fuck is... These people just make up shit. I mean, read that again. They're not going to take nothing, not even the new real ID. Give me a break. Go read the fucking thing yourself. It's not even long. It's, matter of fact, one of the fucking shortest ones I think they've ever put out. Oh, here's a summary. Oh, I don't want the summary. Hang on. Anyway, specifically, the bill prohibits states from accepting, processing, and package to register to vote in a federal election unless the applicant presents documentary proof of U.S. citizenship. Let me go on to the bill. Okay, let's see what the bill says here. If I forget when I get down to where it's all in caps, that's where these people added it in. The most significant part of the SAVE Act, it would amend the National Member Voter Act and Proof of Citizenship, those two thingies right there. It currently prohibits states from requiring documentary proof of citizenship. Well, isn't that we've all been bitching about that? Okay, DPOC, proof of citizenship, from applicants that register to vote underneath voter registration. Require Americans to prove you're a citizen. DPOC, prove you're a fucking citizen in federal elections. Oh, I don't remember if I said it in my last video because I got a comment. The national progression of this should be to where the real ID goes into states. State driver's licenses, state IDs, especially state driver's licenses. I don't know if I said this in my last video, but I think it was in a comment in my last video. Thank you, Jane or something. But could states require could states dictate? I mean, the feds dictate states' requirements for driver's licenses or identification? No, they cannot. But they can blackmail them, just like they blackmail them into. You want these federal funds? You got to have these DUI limits. You got to have these speed limits and all that other horse shit. But I'll show screenshots on that just to prove it's real. Anyway, provide you're a fucking citizen. SAVE Act burdens are extreme. Most Americans are no longer able to register to vote using their driver's license or other state. Of course, you got to get the real ID saying you're a citizen. That's all this is all saying. You got to prove you're a fucking citizen. What's that number one? Let me pause her. Now listen to you got to pay attention to the wording, how they do this. This is where I just left off. I didn't change nothing there. You can see the way that ends. Screenshots. The SAVE Act burdens are extreme. The end of the paragraph, the voter registration applicants must submit under the SAVE Act a form of photo identification consistent with the Real Act of 205 that indicates the applicant is a United States citizen. Let's see their bold adding. A bizarre requirement since identification issues pursuant to Real ID does not list a person's citizenship status, and indeed Real IDs are available to non-citizens. Well, if you count a green card, then yes, or people with a God damn it, a permanent passport, then yes. Again, it's permanent passport. But let me address the first one. A bizarre requirement says identification issues pursuant to Real ID does not list a person's citizenship status. We have people in the military, and they could go in with their military ID and get a Real ID card, because you would assume people in the military are citizens or brought from another country, and they're earning their... Anyway, you know, get it, blah, blah, blah. Anything else here? Plus, I forgot the other big thing with that. It says the identification issues pursuant to Real ID does not list a person's citizenship. No, on the ID card, of course it doesn't show your citizenship, because you proved your citizenship when you went and got the fucking thing. I mean... A military ID card coupled with military service record, yeah, there's part of it. Place of birth was in the U.S. Oh, the U.S. Though tracking down and submitting a military service record likely a significant burden for military voters. Well, they already have it if they're in the military. I mean, fucking stop it. Let's move on. Okay, more retarded shit they added in the bold letters. The SAVE Act would not allow states to accept or process a voter registration application without first receiving the required POC, proof of citizenship. Well, what's the problem with that? What's the problem? They want illegals to vote. That's all that, nothing else. Center for American Progress. Amend the Voter Registration Act to prohibit states from accepting applications if you're an illegal. Let me pause here while I read. Okay, next one, number 2D. The Save America Act would just allow states from accepting the voter registration, mail voter registration, unless the applicant presents proof of citizenship in person at the office. In other words, it says unless the applicant presents proof of citizenship in person at the office of an appropriate election official. They're making it sound like you got to bring, again, that you got to bring your proof of citizenship, which just means your real ID card. But they say this whole shit, they imply and make people believe if you're going to go to vote, you got to bring your birth certificate, your marriage certificate if you're married, your social security. Well, you do all that at motor vehicle. You do that ahead of time, so it's fucking over with and done. And right now, underneath this Trumpy agenda, you still have almost fucking 4 years to do it. Here's another one that they make sound bad, and this isn't even their letters. This is actually from this thing, the top section 2I. The Save America Act would amend the Voter Registration Act, private right of action, blah, 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 to allow for suits against an election official who registers an applicant to vote in an election for federal office who fails to present documentary proof of United States citizenship. This would undoubtedly result in litigation. If you're working at a DMV and you're supposed to have these guidelines for real ID, like you had guidelines for regular ID, a regular driver's license. So anyway, take it today. You're working a motor vehicle. You have to have all this documentation for real ID. If you don't take it, if they don't have it all, birth certificate, proof of residence, Social Security card. That's it. That's all you need. That's all you need. Like I said, my ID, I'm getting my real ID, my Washington State current driver's license. I provide the same info. I still got to pay over $100 and do it a fuck again. But, so anyway, you're working a motor vehicle. You're supposed to have these, at least the bare minimum, those three pieces, and those three pieces work. I know, I've done it here. I've done it in Denver for fucking years. Every time I renew my driver's license. But anyway, so I'm working at DMV. Oh, you don't need that birth certificate. You don't need that proof of address. You don't need... Of course I should get in fucking trouble. Give me a break. Retarded. Oh, I should have went on and explained. This paragraph's kind of the same. If you verify somebody doesn't have the proof of citizenship, hefty criminal fines, 5 years in prison. Could also apply to an executive branch employee who provides material assistance. In other words, if you're, come on, it's a conspiracy. I mean, fucking stop it.
Yeah, if you're committing fraud, you're committing fraud.
Not only is this a blatant attack on election officials, but the threat of severe criminal penalties would almost certainly make election officials wary to allow applicants who do not have proof of citizenship to make use of the already confusing. There's nothing fucking confusing about it. Bring in them three things, man. You got your real ID. Same thing you need in this country forever, or should have had forever, but we've gotten away. Illegals have gotten away with all this fucking horse shit for whatever New World Order agendas. But yet it's an attack on officials. Threat of to make officials wary to allow applicants who do not have proof of citizenship to make sure they're already If they don't have it, don't give them a goddamn fucking ID. If you violate that, you're violating not only the law, but your job and your training. Forget the law, your training. I work at McDonald's. Here's how I process an order. I get your... so fucking stupid. I know I'm rambling. I'm just so tired of this horse shit. That's it for there. I just wanted to point out what is in that Save America Act, or whatever they fucking call it. Look, go read it. I'm showing everything. I mean, again, don't leave comments saying I'm wrong, or that Jane person I like left another comment about it's a scam. No, it's not. Go look at this every way you fucking possibly can. I cannot find anything illegitimate about getting rid of these fucking illegals under this. And again, like I said, the natural progression has to be underneath Trump going after illegals. This is going to it seemingly has to evolve into telling states you're not going to get these certain federal laws if you don't get real ID, at least into state driver's licenses, not necessarily state, regular identification cards. Let me show that. I mean, people know, but I'm going to end here with these three screenshots. Do we already know? Do individual states get funding from the feds for... seatbelt laws. Yes, blah, blah, blah. Grants intend to encourage states to do this. How about DUI laws? Yes, states receive federal for DUI laws. I Google, do states get funding for general traffic stops? Yes. And related safety, that includes them too, of course. Come on, stop. Stop it. We all know the Infrastructure and Jobs Act, safe streets, roads for... that's tribal. It's fucking insane. Look up shit yourself, which means Google. I don't care what the fuck Richie from Boston, anybody else say. We all get our information from Google. I don't care if Google takes you to CAP, a government website, officially.gov, or the Center for Missing Children. Stop it. It all comes. How do we know that's... I don't know what I'm reading is actually fucking legit, because as they've shown us with AI and their fucking government agencies all over the internet, we don't know what the fuck's real, but this is the only thing I've seen underneath for years from the government whatsoever that appears legit. But let's stop here. Okay, it's still... Okay, again, the simplified short story. You need to have a birth... This is it. Summation. Real ID Act versus a driver's license in most other states. Birth certificate. That's it. Birth certificate, proof of residency, and a social security card. The number one is birth certificate. There's no scam here. And again, the number one factor is if we had a national ID card, we already have it. Because again, when a cop runs your ID, it's national. Stop it, but see you later. And I'm deleting my other two previous videos because I consolidated them into this one. And people say, oh my God, I deleted evidence. But see you later. Bye.